is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are the Force. We are Florida.
What a gorgeous sight that is. Headed out to sea. Come on in. You can see the Giants and the Marlins. And it's a quick turnaround for the Fish and the Gigantes. After last night, a 2-0 shutout win for the Marlins. Tom Kohler was terrific. And today, the series is decided. Boy, talk about game faces. David Phelps and Jeff Samardzija going at each other today. Hi, everybody. Rich Waltz along with Eduardo Perez. It seems like a noon game. Okay, there's some guys getting a start. Lineups have been tweaked a little bit, but it's of big importance to both of these ball clubs.
It's important. This is a rubber match right now. Two teams that right now are in position to play in October, and they could meet again in October. I have to take a good look at Marcell Ozuna. He has to turn it on. If he goes right now with Giancarlo Stanton out of the lineup, it's important that he gets it started early.
Yeah, 0 for his last 18 right now is Marcell Ozuna. A guy that'll be hitting in front of him, though, is really hot and having a terrific August and a great season. That's Christian Yelich.
Love watching the approach of Christian from the beginning of the season. He's a healthy Christian Yelich. He can go the other way. Once you start seeing him drive the ball to left field, the entire field opens up for him. When they go soft to him, this is what he does. Goes yay. Look at the month of August. 417, 2 home runs, 10 RBIs against Samardzija, 4 for 9. Not bad numbers at all.
And for Yelich, one of the pieces of news is that he has faced Jeff Samardzija and hit Jeff Samardzija, and that's who's starting for the Giants.
It's a different Jeff Samardzija, though. Last 2 starts has been going to the off-speed pitch, not the slider, not the split finger, but the curveball early in counts. That's one thing that Barry Bonds, Frank Menechino have let their team know. Jeff Samardzija aggressive early with the breaking pitch and then tries to knock guys out with the fastball inside, split finger for the out pitch.
We're going to find out if Eduardo knows the Notre Dame fight song today, because you've got Samardzija, who of course was a great wide receiver and pitcher at Notre Dame, and David Phelps is a Golden Domer as well, and the Marlins really pleased with his first start of the season.
Especially in Colorado. Are you kidding me? Going 4 in the 3rd innings, 4 hits. This is a guy that attacks the zone. Having that cutter really works for him. He's aggressive. I love his approach. This guy, let's not forget, he was a starter. So going back into a position that he really likes, he's going to try to seize the opportunity.
All right. Glad you're with this little lunch with the Marlins and the Giants. Giancarlo Stanton not in the lineup. What's his status? We'll get an update from Craig Minervini and Jeff Conine. Baseball is right around the bend. Wednesday Showdown, brought to you by La Lechonera. How about that? Giants and Marlins with a little help from Eduardo Perez, ready to start this game. Top that, Craig and Jeff.
Rich, we cannot back to you. No, we do have something. That was awesome.
That was good.
With Jeff Conine, Craig Benavides.
Unexpected, but good.
Yes, good afternoon. Yes, it is afternoon. A quick turnaround. All right, Giancarlo Stanton is not in the starting lineup here for the Marlins. Why not, Mr. Conine?
Well, he was going to get a day off today anyway, but a couple nights ago he makes a great catch out there in right field. We'll see it here. Sliding to his left to avoid D. Gordon, who was racing by, but tweaked his left hip groin area a little bit. Saw last night in one of his last at-bats that he was kind of gingerly running down to first base. Saw him kind of favoring that right leg there, and Don Mattingly decided, hey, let's take him out of the lineup today, which was planned anyway, and give him another day off tomorrow.
So we'll get a few days off before Friday. Here's Don Mattingly with more.
He jammed his leg pretty good on that catch. Remember the catch he made early yesterday in that game? Kind of jammed his knee into the ground, making that sliding catch. And he was a little sore before the game today, but felt like he could play.
I would say that you don't assume Giancarlo is not available if you need a key pinch hit late in the game.
Well, yeah, you don't know if he's not available or not. Don Mattingly didn't tell us that, but if this game comes down to it, I think Giancarlo will get in there and take a swing for sure.
Especially with a short bench, too.
Absolutely.
And last night, with half a bat, he almost hit the ball within really a few feet of a home run. All right, David Phelps, second start coming up. Rubber game series, San Francisco and Miami. Coming up next on Fox Sports Florida.
Giants and Marlins ready to go. Marlins Park. Day game after night game, and David Phelps will try to pick up where Tom Kohler left off. 7 scoreless for Kohler. Phelps threw 4 1/3 scoreless in his first start of the season in Colorado, and he takes aim at Eduardo Nunez and misses out. This ball game is underway. Nunez, who started in game 1, off night last night, hits leadoff. Angel Pagan and Brandon Belt scheduled for the Giants in the first. Nunez to right. Ichiro is out there, and Ichiro makes the catch. So 1 out for the Giants, managed by Bruce Bochy. Their lineup brought to you by UHealth Sports Medicine.
Well, you already introduced Eduardo Nunez, but Angel Pagan so far 6 times on base, 4 base hits, 8-game hitting streak. for Angel, hitting in the 2 spot. Buster Posey back in the lineup in the cleanup spot. Hunter Pence drops down to 7th. Jeff Samardzija pitching, hitting 9th.
Bruce Bochy missed game 1. He was in the hospital overnight. Feels much better. Was here last night. And is watching Angel Pagan dig in. Bochy, of course, an incredible run with the Giants, 3 world championships. Was highly regarded when he was in San Diego as well. Liner to left. Yelich makes a catch. Miami defensively lines up this way. Christian Yelich on cue. Southwest with Ozuna and Ichiro also in that outfield. Martin Prado, Derek Dietrich are the corner infielders. And the double play combination of Adeiny Echevarria and Dee Gordon and JT Realmuto after a night off last night behind the plate. Don Mattingly and the Fish with an important win last night, 60-53. Marlins in that number 2 wild card spot. The Giants and Brandon Belt have seen the Dodgers come all the way back to tie them now in the West. Dodgers have won 4 straight. Pulls it, does Belt. Dietrich to the bag. That's a 6-pitch inning. And a nice start for David Phelps. The Shark, Jeff Samardzija, gets the ball next. Getting ready to go. Marlins and Giants, bottom of the 1st. Got the sweet kicks going along with the high socks. Marlins lineup brought to you by UHealth Sports Medicine.
The usual suspects at the top 3 with Gordon, Prado, Yelich. And then in the 7th spot, JT Realmuto's 11-game hitting streak, hitting .357. Guys, the job he's done behind the plate. We talked about him in the pregame. Ichiro back in there in the 6th spot. David Phelps hitting 9th, pitching.
A pair of Notre Dame products pitching against each other in the big leagues. Here is Dee Gordon. Jeff Samardzija, of course, not only a great pitcher, but also a standout wide receiver at Notre Dame. And his numbers 9-8 with a 4.40 ERA. As Wardo pointed out, that spiked curveball he's added has helped him, especially get hitters off of what is usually a very live fastball.
It is. Everything was one speed. You go fastball hard, slider hard, split finger hard. He needed something to at least get the hitters off balance. He's starting to use that spike curveball early in the counts. Has not used it late in counts. But it's more of a timing to get the hitter off balance.
Samardzija now 31. Big guy, 6'5", 225. Gordon bounces one out to Crawford, who's had a really nice series defensively. Brandon Crawford throws out D. Gordon. Giants defensively, it's been some great defense in this series for sure. Southwest Airlines presents Angel Pagan, Gregor Blanco, and Hunter Pence out in right. Eduardo Nunez and Brandon Belt on the corners. Joe Panik, Brandon Crawford up the middle, and Buster Posey behind the plate. One of the best in the game, and not just catchers, I mean players, is Buster Posey. He showed that in that long ball game on Monday night. And here's Prado. Prado, a little tapper out towards short with that sore toe. Can't feel good to get down the line like that, but he hustles and is thrown out. So 2 ground balls to short. Both pitchers on an economy of pitches right now. Auto Nation will give you the scouting report with some help from Eduardo Perez on Jeff Samardzija.
Well, you look at Heat. We talked about how hard he throws. He just comes right at you. Now using that curveball. And then two-sport athlete when it comes to the Irish, Notre Dame, baseball, football, and the ultimate snub, man. Traded from the Chicago Cubs to Oakland 2 days before the All-Star game in 2014. Ouch. Last season pitched for the White Sox.
Well, Samardzija and Yelich have a little bit of history, and it weighs in favor of Yelich. A really nice series and a terrific run for Yelich to start August. Samardzija sends that one to the screen. Yeah, Posey. You can see Posey looking, and the happiest guy is Corey Blazer, the home plate umpire behind the plate, that ball didn't hit him.
That's a scary thought. You're thinking slider, all of a sudden Corey Blazer on the other side. Just imagine if he was on the third base side trying to get the call. That's a scary thought. Mid-90s coming at you.
Yelich gets a 2-0 pitch. Now the Marlins faced Samardzija in April. Yelich had 2 doubles against him, but not much else for the Fish. Giants beat the Marlins 8-1 in that ball game, and Samardzija got the win. That was a Jared Cozart start. Two-one.
That's that curveball right there. Using it when he's behind in the count. The equalizer, 2-1. Doesn't have a changeup in his back pocket, so he goes with it. A lot of pitchers don't like to call it the get me over. You see how Buster almost left his position right there. Ball came back.
Throws the breaking ball again. Panik to his left, and he gets Yelich. Both Samardzija and Phelps look sharp early on.
West Kendall Toyota.
In Miami, a lunchtime start for the Marlins and the Giants. And David Phelps gets Buster Posey, Brandon Crawford, and Joe Panik. Posey played every inning of that long 5.5-hour game on Monday night. Had last night off. Takes a strike. It's 1-1. And that one fouled back. Of course, Phelps spent last year both in Miami's rotation and bullpen and was pitching with that stress fracture in the forearm. Marlins shut him down near the end of last year. And he had a great spring, and everybody thought, as he pitched so well in that 7th and 8th inning, that just the short relief was the reason his fastball was as much as 3 miles an hour higher. See, that's 95. Last year he was 92. But for the Marlins, I think one of the best things to come out of Colorado was the fact that Phelps was throwing in that 5th inning 96 miles an hour with his fastball. And so having a healthy forearm, I think, is probably more important than having the short outings for his velocity. And there's the cutter, and he strikes out Posey.
A healthy elbow, and most importantly, the work that David Phelps put on in the off season, getting his legs strong, helping out his arm, really has worked. You see that cutter, everything was away. All of a sudden comes in with it, gets his hips to open up, and once Buster commits with the hips, I don't care how good you are, the movement of David Phelps and the location worked to perfection right there. Juan Nieves loving what he sees so far, the first 4 hitters.
Now Brandon Crawford. The highs and the lows of a baseball player for Crawford. First game of the series, 7 for 8. That was in that 14-inning game, and he had the game-winning hit. And then last night, 0 for 4.
7 hits. That's 2 weeks' work right
I know.
there.
He's not a guy that wants to rest on that, though.
And he barreled it up yesterday, struck out. The all-or-nothing guy for the first 3 at-bats. First 11 at-bats. Struck out 3 times and had 8 hits.
Phelps 2-1, the Giants shortstop. Big breaking ball, and Dietrich gets to the bag. Five up, 5 down so far for David Phelps. Postseason Chase Pack. You buy 10 games this season, you get priority for postseason ticket strips. Packages start at $250. Marlins.com/postseason pack. That's the goal for both of these ball clubs. Obviously for the Giants, they've been there a lot lately. 3 world championships. Marlins' last visit to October baseball was 2003, which ended in Miami's 2nd world championship. Backdoor cutter to Joe Panik, Giants' 2nd baseman. Since returning from his concussion, Joe Panik is 4 for 40. There's a couple other guys that they'd like to get going in the lineup. Hunter Pence, who was on deck, he has struggled. Bouncer up the middle. Gordon dives, got it on one knee, not in time. Panik beats it. So he's got a hit. Here comes Pence. Well, it's an even year, so the Giants, some would think, were due. It's really uncanny what they've done over the last 5 seasons.
I think right now it's more psychological than anything. Coming into spring training, you're like, okay, I'm wearing a Giants uniform. They made big moves. They ended up getting Samardzija, Cueto. They've revamped their pitching now during the trade deadline, and you have that man leading the pack, Bruce Bochy, which I consider the best manager right now in the game.
Pence takes a strike. The struggle for Pence, 1 for 11 with 6 strikeouts in this series. That's a strike.
Hunter's going to try to be more patient at the plate. He's been jumpy the first 2 games. That's a good thing for the Marlins, bad thing for the Giants. Swinging the pitches way out of the zone. Guessing more than just trusting his eyes and letting his hands work.
Pence with that shiner. Looks like he's right off the set of Pirates of the Caribbean.
Really surprised how shallow Christian Yelich is playing left field with 2 outs, runner at first. Usually outfield's back, no doubles.
And Pence swinging for the Clevelander.
And with that hard swing, I think Yelich took 2 steps back. Realized the malice behind the swing. Phelps doesn't have to hit the strike zone this time. He can get Pence to chase the way he has the first 2 games.
Velocity's good, location's good. Phelps, what a boost that would be to Miami if Phelps can slide into the rotation and be effective for Juan Nieves. And the Marlins, the last 2 weeks has been a real scramble. First the injury to Wei-Yin Chen, the trade for Andrew Cashner and Colin Ray, Ray's injury and subsequent return to the Padres. Chen is at least 2.5, 3 weeks away because he's got to restart a throwing program, throw some rehab games. And so you really can't count on him until maybe the 2nd week of September.
Yeah, right now, and remember Jack McKeon saying, guys that are on the DL, don't even count on them. Focus on what you have, the 25 guys you have, and if you can get them healthy, let the training staff do what they have to do. Let Ron Jacob, the physical therapist, get those guys ready in order to get them on the field. But right now, focus on the 25 men in uniform ready to play the game.
Pence having a good at bat here, and he's run the count to 2-2. As far as pitch counts for Phelps, probably in the 80 to 85 range. He came out at 70 in Colorado. You can't just throw a guy out there and say, give me 110 pitches when he's been pitching 1 inning at a time all season long. There it is. There's that breaking ball, and Pence continues to struggle. Phelps, first 2 innings, scoreless. Wait for it. There it is. It's that second wave with the great sound effects. La Lechonera on a Wednesday showdown. That looks like some campers here, some school kids have come in for this ball game. A noon start in Miami. Marcell Ozuna and Jeff Samardzija. Early breaking ball, something the Marlins didn't see much at all from Samardzija when they faced him in San Francisco in April.
That's a really effective pitch. First time around the lineup early if you can throw it for a strike.
And that gets guys off his fastball, which has a lot of life. A great location there.
It's about numbers, not lying. Once he's ahead in the count, that's where he can take over. Filthy stuff. He's been giving up a lot of home runs because he's been falling behind in the counts, and guys are just on it. They're keying off the velocity, and he has to be perfect when it comes to location. Breaking ball keeps that perfection out of the equation.
It's unique to have two Notre Dame starters going at each other. Our folks at Stats tried to research that. They got as far as 1980 and they couldn't find any Notre Damers matching up as starting pitchers. And that research continues as we speak. Ozuna sprays one into right. And that snaps an 0 for 18. He was 3 for his last 31. That brings up Derek Dietrich. You got Ichiro due up this inning as well.
Well, when you're in trouble, what do? You let the ball get deep, see it all the way, and then trust the ability of your manos, your hands. Watch him stay back on it, guide it that way. Strong enough to hit it through the infield. Joe Panik did not have a chance at it as he's playing him more up the middle. Once you start getting pull happy, everything comes out of sync.
Dietrich shoots it left field. That falls for a hit. Ozuna around second, headed for third. Dietrich is out at second base. Angel Pagan throws him out. A gamble. Ozuna survives at third.
And a bad gamble. That's the reality of it. Derek Dietrich's going to go back to the dugout and say, wow, what did I do here? He knows he made a mistake here. You don't have to tell him. Hits it there, you'll have runners at first and third. Angel Pagan, the ball's in front of you. You're seeing it. You have an opportunity of being able to stop halfway. Instead continues to go. Joe Panik just puts the tag on. Not with one out. You can do that, yes, with 2 outs. But 1 out, you have to be able to allow Ichiro to hit with runners at the corner.
Infield in. 1 out. Ichiro against Samardzija. And Ichiro's bouncer is to Panik, who gets the out, and Ozuna holds first. And that compounds the mistake of Dietrich at second.
Tom Madden is explaining it to Derek Dietrich there, and he should have known that going into it. Marcell Ozuna easily getting the third base. Talk about missed opportunities. That's one right there for the Marlins.
Real Muto now. Marlins have some muscle in the 7 spot with Real Muto. 11-game hit streak. And a strike. Real Muto caught just about every pitch of that Monday night 14-inning, 5.5-hour game. He came out at the very end in a double switch. Giants outfield has him to right center. Breaking ball pulled foul.
There's not one guy in that dugout right now that wants JT Realmuto to get a base hit and drive this run in. And Derek Dietrich right now in that dugout. Love the hustle, love the fight. early on, you can get Jeff Samardzija, put some digits up. Would be nice.
Couple breaking balls to start the at-bat, and then the fastball. 92, but as always with Samardzija, it's not just velocity, but also movement, tail.
Well, it's deception also. And his delivery, he's showing more of his back now to the hitters, especially from the wind-up position. And a lot of it, early on in the season, people were saying, well, Johnny Cueto has an influence on Jeff Samardzija. No, this is how Jeff Samardzija is also pitched.
A little less of that turn when he's in the stretch.
When he's in the stretch, a little less of the turn. With a run around third, no, Marcell Ozuna is not going to steal home. He can even go from the windup if he wants to. But has opted to go from the stretch.
Oh, 2. And it's out. Giancarlo Stanton not in the lineup. Not only an off day, but also an issue with that right hip. Breaking ball popped up.
That's not a good pitch for Jeff Samardzija. He's already shown it to JT a couple times. 1-2 count, you're hanging that breaking pitch. That's why he's given up as many home runs this season for the Giants, and that's been the biggest worry. You want to be able to keep that ball down and get JT to chase.
7 homers in his last 5 starts, 21 total. Real Muto's getting enough of the fastballs to fight him off, identifying breaking balls, and at this point he's seen just about everything Samardzija is throwing.
But you see the quadrant in the Fox tracks, he's missing up and in. He's trying to stay away. JT's been able to fight those off. That 7th pitch, missed location, down in the zone, right down the middle.
Ozuna still at third. Posey sets up out. Another fastball. And that was pitch number 8 of this at bat.
I'm bumming out it's not Twitter Tuesday. I really am. I enjoyed it. I mean, Monday's game went long. Once the clock struck 12, it was Twitter Tuesday. Then yesterday, all game long.
You're jonesing for some social interaction already.
Oh, I want my iWatch to be buzzing.
One, 2. Struck him out, and Real Muto spins away from the at bat. Samardzija wins the duel. And this ball game is still scoreless.
Welcome back here to Marlins Park. We move along to the top of the third inning. Marlins playing the Giants. And this year, the Marlins have played the other divisions in their league better than ever before. And in fact, it's not even close. Of late, they've won 4 of the last 9 against the Central and the West divisions. But take a look at these stats here. They have been very impressive. And you can ride numbers like this to a lot better things in the season, maybe even a postseason. When you look at how well they played against the Central and the West, it's not even close to their '97 championship season at .556. Now, obviously, it's going to all sit on how they do against the National League East, and most of those games will be upcoming guys in September. But because of how well they've played against the other divisions, gives them a shot, even though they're under 500 against their own division.
That's interesting. I mean, the Marlins still have to play the Dodgers here. Most of September is National League East competition. Got some interleague with some interesting American League teams. One really good one, that's the Cleveland Indians in Cleveland. The White Sox and the Royals, the defending world champs, will be here as well. Woo! Gregor Blanco in the 8th spot. You've got Samardzija on deck, and Eduardo Nunez coming up. And Blanco swings and misses. David Phelps with 3 strikeouts. 3 of his last 4 outs are strikeouts. Speak for yourself. Colin Cowherd, Jason Whitlock. Weeknights 6 Eastern on FS1. Marlins Park. Giants and Marlins finishing a 3-game series, and a real entertaining one. Samardzija takes up a wild game, 8-7 Giants, 5.5 hours, 14 innings on Monday night. The Marlins showing resiliency and getting another outstanding start from Tom Kohler. Shut out the Giants last night 2-0. Samardzija not only beat the Marlins in that April start, he had a couple hits in that ball game. Big swing and a miss. So it's Notre Dame against Notre Dame here.
High heat coming at you.
I think the velocity's up still. 5 strikeouts. He's punched out the last 3. Fireworks on Friday, White Sox on Friday, and the Budweiser Burger and Beer Package, which is $25. Go to marlins.com for tickets. Top of the order now, Eduardo Nunez.
4 of the last 5 at-bats have been of the resodding variety for David Phelps. You're looking at me like, what? Resodding? Yeah. The ground screw would have to resod.
That's the center field. That's a base hit for Eduardo Nunez.
Could be strikeouts. Resod the way back to the dugout. The grass. Keep killing the grass on the way back. It's a good thing for Phelps. You're going to allow base hits, you do it with 2 outs. Get Angel Pagan up to the plate. Eduardo Nunez, when he was with the Twins, led that team in stolen bases. 24 steals. Look for him to be aggressive on the bases now with 2 outs.
28 stolen bases total this year. Angel Pagan takes, and it's 1-0. Pagan lined out to Yelich back in the first. Both these catchers, Realmuto and Posey, had great throwing nights on Monday. Realmuto, of course, last year had the fastest pop time in baseball, and that's the pop of his glove to the pop of the middle infielder's glove on a stolen base. Posey is having just an exceptional year throwing the ball this year, with a caught stealing over 40%. And it's Phelps who throws it away. So a throwing error by David Phelps. Nunez doesn't have to steal second. He's handed it. And an error charged to Phelps, you would think.
And the way Dietrich is positioned at first base, very difficult to get to anything thrown to his extreme right. Squared up to David Phelps. Phelps just not lobbing it over there. He's giving a hard feed.
So the first bit of stress for Phelps in this start. He's got Nunez in scoring position, and he's 2-0 on Pagan.
Good pitch. Go with the changeup. Right there. Angel Pagan from Manuela Perez in Puerto Rico. Growing up there, looking to swing like he was coming out of that Little League swinging right there. Looking Deadpool. Look where his face was pointed at. Straight towards right field.
That's an Andrew Jones back knee type of swing.
Oh, yeah.
2-1 coming.
Good pitch.
That's strike.
Lefties do not like it up there, especially switch hitting. Left-handed hitters kissing the top of the zone, the extreme top. Changing eye levels.
A visit from Realmuto. Chopper over Phelps. Gordon pumps and holds it. And the Giants have met the corners. Nice job by Gordon to eat the baseball.
Really nice job. The speed of Pagan getting down the line. There was not going to be a play. Talk about a high stress inning. Now you have Brandon Belt at the plate. JT Realmuto will be giving the signs. Where does it go? But you see the chopper. As soon as it gets by Phelps, no chance. Hold on to it. Good decision by D. Now with speed on the corners, this is where Don Mattingly now has to decide, do I count on my guy behind the plate and David Phelps on the mound to make sure Angel Pagan does not get a good jump? Do I throw through or do I hold the baseball?
Phelps going right after Belt, who bounced to first.
And as early as it is in the game in the third inning, I throw through.
Bruce Bochy is always creative with his running game. He's never really had a great base stealer, but he'll put the game in motion. 2 outs, 0-1. Phelps comes in.
good telltale sign is if it goes to a 1-2 count now or to a 2-strike situation, watch if JT Realmuto now gives signs to his infielders to change where the throw is going through. A lot of teams change signs up with 2 strikes.
Runner goes, pitch is out, and Realmuto no throw. JT never came out of his crouch. He was A, not throwing through, and B, wanted to try to hold the ball and preserve the strike. But now the Giants have second and third, and 2-1 coming to Belt. And the guy on deck is no picnic either. That's Buster Posey.
This is the guy you want, not Buster Posey. Hard in right now. David Phelps has good velocity. Get in there, see if he can pop one up to the off-field, or if not, just roll one over to first.
Bags loaded, and here's Posey. So the stress level rises for Phelps. Juan Nieves is out for visits. Well, you're talking about one of the better clutch hitters, if you want to use that term in baseball, in Posey. Runners in scoring position lately. He's been pretty good. 365 in his last 52 at bats.
Outfield playing straight up on Buster. Usually with runners in scoring position, likes to go right center field.
Of course, Phelps is going to have to throw strikes here with the bags loaded. Phelps had struck out 3 in a row before the Nunez single. The throwing error by Phelps moved him to second, and then Pagan's 60-foot base hit just past the mound. Posey still has that battle scar from his head first / face first slide the other night. Ball and a strike. Posey bounces it out to Gordon, flips it up, and Echeverria is there, and Phelps gets out. 25 pitches worth for Phelps, still scoreless. Baseball on Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by the all-new 2017 Chrysler Pacifica. By Southwest, transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. And by your local Toyota dealers. Let's go places. Those kids have been able to go places. Looks like Camp Nova.
Loving it. How awesome is that? Come to a ball game.
Some schools are in, some camps are still going. Denny Echeverria against Jeff Samardzija. Now the difference in Samardzija and Phelps in terms of pitches is that Samardzija right now is at 27, Phelps is at 51, and Samardzija has obviously been stretched out as a starter, whereas Phelps is probably about an 80 to 85 limit.
Key to that inning was for Phelps was getting the first two guys out and the 8th and 9th hitters out. Tough part of the lineup, 1 through 4, was able to get unscathed even though the pitch count went up. You get Buster Posey out with the bases loaded. That's a good break. This is a scary thought as a hitter. You're thinking, uh-oh, here comes the fastball, recognized breaking pitch. But love the way Etche gets out of the way, rolling with it.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Echeverria looking for his first hit of the series. And down goes Echeverria. Today, Eduardo Perez was on Good Morning America.
How about that?
I got to tell you, energy-wise, you lit up the show, but your expert commentary was about Tim Tebow and his chances of playing in Major League Baseball. Now, of course, Tebow, a great college player, wasn't able to stick in the NFL. Now, 12 years since his
That's
last
the key, 12 years.
organized game is trying to play baseball. And the reason I bring it up is you've got a guy on the mound who was one of the best wide receivers in the college game at one of the best college football schools. And he decided to go baseball. The difference is Samardzija was a very good pitcher, all Big East performer at Notre Dame.
Hence the 2-sport athlete. And it's not like, oh, I played 2 sports. I have a lot of friends that played 2 sports. I was a great basketball player back in the day. That doesn't mean I was going to be a great NBA player after not playing for 10 years. In my case, 30.
Well, I think the difference, too, is Samardzija's a pitcher. Now, he pitched in college, closed
Right.
in college, got to the big leagues, made his Major League debut against the Marlins. But Tebow's trying to come back as a position player. I mean,
He is, and he got a big-time endorsement from Gary Sheffield. Sound of the bat, the whole thing. Just in case, Gary Sheffield's also his agent. Forget about that. So, at the end of the day, you have to be able to take that with a grain of salt. He is trying to motivate and promote his client, and rightfully so.
You know what, though? I would love to see him go to the minor leagues and give it a shot.
Well, as long as it does not affect the development of a young player in the minor leagues. If it starts taking at bats to see if a 28-year-old big name football star in college, because he was not at the NFL level, starts taking at bats from a young player that's hungry and has to make a living out of this sport and is trying to do the best for himself and his family, then that's where the issue for me comes in. You got an offer by the Santurce Cangrejeros, and we saw that in Good Morning America. Said, hey, come out and work out in the fall, and we'll see what you have. He needs to be able to see pitches and play the game.
That's close. Panic underhands it. Gordon is out. And Samardzija looks sharp in a scoreless duel with the Fish. Chrysler is the presenting sponsor of Miami Marlins baseball. Well, the Notre Damers have been pretty good here. Jeff Samardzija and David Phelps. Phelps had an extended third inning. He left the bases loaded. Crawford takes. Saw the home plate umpire Corey Blazer turn around and look back. The music here at Marlins Park is running long. This isn't the NBA where they play with music going. And Blazer put his arms up like, come on.
Wasn't that the fight song, though? The Notre Dame fight song? No,
it was.
No?
It was a hip hop hit.
Oh.
Crawford, UCLA star, takes a strike. It's 1-2. Couple of hits in the third. Full count here at 3-2. Andrew Cashner ready to play first base, and he'll be starting against the White Sox. It's a 6:30 start.
Pickett over there.
Joe Panik, Hunter Pence to follow. Crawford 3-2. To right, hit well. Ichiro watches it, and that ball is gone. Brandon Crawford His 11th, and the Giants are on the board first.
After 7 hits in the first day, then went 0 for yesterday. Ends up rolling over on the first at bat this time. David Phelps decides to go with a changeup. You see it right there. This is a pitch you want down and away. Instead, starts out over the plate, right down the middle, and then Crawford just lays into it. Ichiro trying to play it off the wall to no avail. Ball's a homer.
So panic out number 1. Here's Pence. It's been a struggle for Pence in the series. 1 for 12, 7 strikeouts.
There's a common denominator when hitters go bad. It's pitch selection, everything out of the zone. We saw Derek Dietrich struggle earlier on in the month of July, and one of the biggest reasons was because he was swinging at pitches he usually does not swing at. We're seeing that right now from Hunter Pence, taking pitches right down the middle. Now David Phelps does not even have to attack anything in the zone.
Sounds like a movie night selection.
Guessing.
When good hitters go bad. And Pence strikes out. He's punched out 8 times in this series.
He was guessing right there. He's like, there's no way he's going to throw me a strike. He's going to throw me a breaking ball. Oh! Resawed it, baby. Resawed it.
Here's Blanco. He rolls one out to short. That's exactly what David Phelps needed. He needed a short pitch inning. He didn't need the home run from Brandon Crawford. That's 1-0 San Francisco. T-Mobile brings you greater coverage of baseball. Rick Porcello strong against the Yankees. John Lackey beating his old ball club, the Angels. And really sad news. Prince Fielder not medically cleared after his 2nd neck surgery. And a news conference scheduled today at Arlington, Texas. All signs point that his career has ended.
Tough one. That's a baseball lifer. Grew up also around the ballpark. All of a sudden to not be cleared after the following surgery. That's That's a tough one, but a great career at that. Same amount of home runs as his father, 319.
Marlin tried to get going against Jeff Samardzija. That's been tough. Brought another grounder to short. What has to smart right now is that second inning. Marcell Ozuna singled to right to open the inning. Derek Dietrich dumped one down the left field line. Ozuna got to third easily. And Dietrich gambled and tried to get to second and was thrown out by a pretty good margin. So instead of first and third and nobody out, Samardzija had a runner at third and one out. And with the infield in, Ichiro bounced to second. Realmuto would strike out after a long at bat, and Samardzija kept that runner at third base. Yelich left center, and a sliding catch there by Pagan.
Oh, Yelly going the other way. Pagan focuses on it. You see a lot of left fielders struggle with the lights. Not that time. Andrew had it the entire way. Came up as a center fielder. Has done a nice job transitioning to left field.
Samardzija not only getting outs, he's getting a lot of quick outs. Just 43 pitches. 2 outs here in the fourth.
That was the first out. That was a fly ball out. Everything else was on the ground or via the strikeout.
On the ground there, that's Crawford. Ground balls go to die. And a 1-2-3 fourth for the Fish. Phelps back out there. 1-0 Giants. Marlins baseball on Fox Sports Florida, brought to you by the all-new 2017 Chrysler Pacifica. I was stunned by that. I mean, look at that. How cool is that? Have you done that yet?
No, I don't think that will propel my body weight. No. I have not. That's cool. That really is.
Samardzija takes breaking ball for a strike.
That is really cool, though. We'll take you out on that after the game. What do you think, Rich?
I have a date tonight to go to Fish and Chips.
Oh,
Marlins charity
That's
event
right.
tonight at 5:30.
We can sneak it in right before.
Eduardo Nunez, Angel Pagan follow Samardzija in the 5th. Phelps. This is out, and it's 1-2. Brandon Crawford solo homer, and that's it. Phelps' pitch count sits at 65. He's 5 pitches shy of where he was in Colorado. Prado gets a nice hop, and he gets Samardzija over at first. So, Eduardo, just to remind you, Fish and Chips is tonight, 5:30. It's for the Marlins Foundation. It's an evening of casino games, cocktails, got a big silent auction, good food as well. And all of the proceeds will benefit the RBI program, reviving baseball in the inner cities. Marlins have been very successful on the fields with their RBI programs. They've had some championships, some national championships.
So what's the attire? What are we looking at here?
Just throw on a nice untucked collared shirt.
The Miami look?
Miami look with some jeans. Lots of cologne.
Oh, no doubt. Put some smell good on.
Put some smell good. Some Bartolo.
I like what David did there. He took a step back. 2-0 on Nunez. Go after him right here. You do not want him on base.
Nunez fouls it back. Two and two. This is the progression for Phelps. Now the 55 pitch effort was in relief, long relief at 55. And at that point the Marlins needed a starter, so the next step was to put Phelps in 70 pitches in Denver.
Wow. Eduardo Nunez has swung at a couple pitches out of the zone when he was already ahead, and it's helped David Phelps, especially with that pitch count. The way Phelps has been able to evolve again to the rotation, the credit goes again to him. His mental fortitude this season. Coming to spring training, you're thinking, okay, maybe in the long relief, did a fantastic job bridging it to AJ, getting himself his identity there, now open to go right back to the rotation. That, hats off to David on this one. This is a team player, something that that does not go unnoticed.
Nunez, an all-star as a twin, gets a 3-2 pitch. Goes after it, flips it to right. Ichiro in, and he makes the catch. Geico presents a Marlins moment. Counsel in the leadoff spot and comes to the plate. 2005. This is a hidden ball trick. Mike Lowe, look out, Diamondbacks. So hidden that it wasn't captured on camera. One replay. And there it is. Second time that Mike Lowe executed the hidden ball trick. 2004, he was successful. I think over the last, since Mike did that in 05, they've kind of relaxed and changed some of the rules for the hidden ball. It used to be the pitcher could not be on the dirt of the mound.
Now you can't be straddling the rubber in any which way.
And to execute that play, the pitcher obviously has to be in on it, and he has to act like A, he has the ball, and B, he can't be, back then he couldn't be on the dirt, so he had to bend over, tie his shoe. Now he could probably go to the back of the mound, play with the rosin bag.
It's an entire Oscar-nominated performance with Best Supporting Actor by the pitcher, Best Actor by the third baseman, Mike Lowell. Just a lot of moving parts going into it.
And as an infielder, you'll see a lot of, when it's successful, that infielder will trot to the mound and have the ball in their glove and try to hand it to the pitcher, either glove to glove or quickly back in the glove.
That guy doesn't get nominated, though.
Yeah.
Ricketts.
Carl Pavano was the pitcher in 04. So we need to see if we have videotape of Pavano's performance. Some would call it performance art. That's into the seats. There's a full boat of games in Major League Baseball. This is the first one out of the chute. All right, this is 04. There's Pavano.
There it is.
Yeah, stretch. Oh. There you go. There's the shoe tie. And that's it.
It's over. That's it.
Phelps misses in. And Pagan walks. Here's Belt. And I think at this point for Phelps at 79 pitches, it's pretty safe to say this is the last effort. Todd Jones in 05 was the pitcher. Yeah, there's the little, had the ball.
Not even Castillo knew what was going on. He's still at second base.
For a Major League telecast, Juan Nieves is on the mound. And for a Major League telecast, you've got 6, 7 cameras, and nobody's thinking hidden ball tricks. So a lot of guys are shooting the pitcher, the manager, fielder, wide shot of the field, the hitter coming up. I mean, you couldn't tell, hey Joe, shoot the shoot the guy at first in case it's hidden ball trick. That would be an Emmy award-winning effort.
I think Juan Nieves needs David Phelps to not only get Brandon Belt, but if he misses on him, to get Buster Posey also. And Mike Dunn in the bullpen warming up, most likely ready for Brandon Crawford.
Remember, Pagan stole second base in the 3rd. Counts 0-1. Giants have 4 hits. Miami has just 2. There's Posey. And Belt. 1 for 9 is Belt in this series. Cutter against the lefty is a backdoor pitch. Phelps signaling into Corey Blazer. Was that pitch up? Blazer said yes. And now Blazer in discussion with Miami's bench.
Give a lot of credit to Corey Blazer. That pitch was up.
Here's that, really that spot again for Phelps. You've got Posey on deck and Belt the left-handed hitter, but as you noted, you'd much rather go after Belt than have to go after Posey with a runner in scoring position.
We saw what happened last time in the same type of situation. Last time you had runners second and third. David Phelps did not go after Brandon Belt, even on a 3-2 count through an off-speed pitch. You don't see him going after Belt again here. And he did, down and away. Made a correct pitch. As long as you don't go down and in with Belt, you're okay.
After a 6-pitch first, high pitch count in the second and the third and the fifth. Mike Dunn in Miami's pen. Pagan will be on the move. There he runs, and Belt yanks it foul on the ground. Giants head home. This is a long road trip for the Giants with stops in Philly and in DC. Marlins stay home. White Sox here this weekend. Three-two. And he missed. Now here's Posey.
This is where Don Mattingly now has to make a decision. 86 pitches on the day for David Phelps. Already past what he can go, but he knows this is the right matchup. Phelps, Posey, especially with Mike Dunn already ready in the pen, a left-handed pitcher. This is Phelps' game. This is where you throw out the numbers right now when it comes to pitch counts, and you depend and you lean on Phelps to get Posey.
And in all likelihood, the last hitter he faces, you've got a lefty with Crawford on deck. And at this point, if Posey reaches, you would expect Dunn to come in to face Crawford. It's all part of reacclimating yourself to the starting role. It's such a different animal than being a setup guy and coming in and blowing it out in 15 to 18 pitches in an inning. Posey struck out in the second, bounced to second in the third.
Good pitch. Wow. Talk about location. First one outside corner, this time coming in. Buster Posey already has in the back of his mind the way he struck him out the first time up with a cutter. Locating well there.
Where does Phelps go here?
Out of the zone. He can go and attack like he did, but Buster Posey's thinking right field right now. You have to go back hard in if it's a fastball, not soft away.
Ooh,
wow.
That's a close pitch.
That's a sexy pitch.
That's
right
a
there.
strike.
That's a strike. You see him taking a deep breath back. He knows Corey Blaser missed that one. Oh.
It's a perfect pitch, but not called. Let's see what he does 1 and 2. It stays 1 ball and 2 strikes. David Phelps trying to get to the finish line of this start and keep it at 1-0. He's got to get Buster Posey the 1-2. Posey, Gordon going to go to first in time, and Phelps 5 innings, 1 run, past his pitch count. Nicely done. Chrysler is the presenting sponsor of Miami Marlins baseball. How cool does that look? Jump on in on a hot, hot day in Miami. Let's check in with Craig Minervini. Craig.
All right, Rich, thank you very much. Ichiro bats second in this inning, hit that milestone over the weekend in Colorado. So how high can he go this year? Well, he's at a pace for less than 100 hits, about a 93 hit season, and at this pace could put him past a few more guys on that incredible hit list as Derek Dietrich stands in here for Miami. Right now he's tied for 29th with Roberto Clemente. Next up is Al Kaline, the 22-year Hall of Famer with the Detroit Tigers, 18-time All-Star. But if at this pace he could move up past a few guys above him, probably even get past Lou Brock if he gets some ABs. Dietrich dumps that at the left field for the out. Maybe get 25th. That's the pacing right now beneath Rod Carew. Be interesting to watch here. Let's see him get 3,000 number one before we worry about those up, guys.
All right, thank you, Craig. Ichiro bounced to second in the second. He's 0 for 3 in the series. The first 2 at bats, pinch hit appearances on Monday and last night. One and 0 to Ichiro. And a line drive base hit left field. There is 3,001. He has passed Roberto Clemente, and he is 29. How about that?
And that's what he needed to do that first time up. Drive it the other way. Justin Marger going with the off-speed pitch. 3,001. Turn your counters, baby. I just did mine.
Ichiro at first. Remember, Real Muto had that long at bat, battling Samardzija. It ended in a strikeout. That one almost ended with a hit batter. Misses in.
First 2 pitches hard in on JT.
Now the Marlins do have the pitcher who is 2 hitters away. Echeverria on deck, and then Phelps. Marlins will certainly pinch hit at that point.
Going to be interesting who they send up. Most likely it'll be Chris Johnson. 4 men on the bench. Mathis, Johnson, Rojas. Stanton not playing today. A tweaked hip. But he is stretching in their dugout.
There is Stanton right there. I mean, if he's not going to play and you're going to use him as a pinch hitter, this would be the time. Real Muto on his way down, because you want to save the reserves that can actually play in the field. And the Marlins have something going here. A single by Ichiro, the walk to Real Muto.
He's grabbing his helmet. You know what makes the pain go away in your hip?
RBI hit.
Absolutely. Hard contact.
So Stanton on deck. Echeverria, Ichiro, and Real Muto out on the bases. Marlins stranded a runner at third in the second. Echeverria strikeout in the third and 0 for 7 in this series. His numbers against Samardzija are very good. 6 for 13 with a home run. Oh, and 2. Echeverria drives it left center. Pagan there makes the catch. And Nitro back to second, can't tag. Just missed that one. And so here is Stanton now. With 2 outs, it's Stanton who will pinch hit. And although Pinch a Penny is the proud sponsor of the pinch hitter, Stanton has not been a good pinch hitter in his career. 1 for 16 with 10 strikeouts.
And after Jeff Samardzija getting a lot of outs on the ground, 4 out of the last 5 outs that he has been able to get have been on the air. 3 of them to the left fielder, Angel Pagan.
So all the numbers, Stanton's pinch hitting career, those right there match up against Samardzija. All of those numbers favor Samardzija. Outfield deep. Infield swung a bit towards third. Stanton takes outs. Of course, just Stanton's presence at the plate also affects the pitcher. Samardzija just the 1 walk, and that was to Real Muto in this inning. Takes that outside. It's 2-0. This is Giancarlo last night breaking his bat, not knowing where the ball is. And it goes off the wall for a double.
Talk about it. Really good wide receivers in their days. Samardzija, Stanton.
Well, we had the matchup of Notre Damers, Samardzija and Phelps. Stanton's high school in Sherman Oaks, California. Notre Dame High School.
Nice.
And yeah, they had gold helmets. Three and 1. D. Gordon's on deck.
Okay, logic says right here 3-1. He threw him 2-0 slider. Will he come back with a 3-1 slider? That's what they teach you when you're coming up through the minor leagues and you learn to perfect it at the major league level. Will Samardzija challenge him with a fastball, or will he go slider down and away again?
3-1 pitch. And Stanton hits a high fly ball to center. Blanco has plenty of room and makes the catch. And the Marlins lead 2. After 5, it's 1-0 San Francisco. Sixth inning starts. Kids enjoying camp day, and we will enjoy a visit from one of our favorites, Cliff Floyd, in the house, in the booth. And on Saturday night, you can get yourself a Cliff Floyd All-Star bobblehead. Shaving cream is optional. There's 5,000. Get them. All-you-can-eat seats as well. That's a Saturday night, an All-Star Saturday night, in anticipation of the 2017 All-Star game here. White Sox Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You seen the White Sox this year in your travels across baseball?
No, I have not. Actually looking forward to seeing them. We'll see them on Saturday and Sunday. Niner will be with us, with you, on Friday.
A Jose Fernandez Chris Sale matchup on Sunday.
I'll be here. It's a great matchup.
Now, the challenge for the Marlins is keep things rolling out of the bullpen. There's your schedule. Sale and Jose on to Cincinnati, and then Pittsburgh. So it's Reds and Pirates on the next road trip. White Sox finish the homestand. Brandon Crawford, Joe Panik, Hunter Pence, Mike Dunn quickly out in front, 0-2. David Phelps, 5 innings, 4 hits, just terrific. A run, 5 strikeouts and 3 walks. And his progression of being stretched out into a starter got him to 91 pitches. And it was the Crawford homer to right, the only blemish on Phelps' line. And the only run of this ball game. Jeff Samardzija, by the way, has only 60 pitches through 5 innings. Dunn got a piece. Now Crawford can run a little bit. I'm not sure if Echeverria gets him.
I think he would have.
Let's take a look.
Because look where he's at. Shifted a little bit up the middle. This ball right here, Etchy already getting a jump on it. Etch would have had that one. I think he would have had him easily by maybe a step and a half.
Wow.
Telling you, man, that's my internal clock working for you.
How was your internal clock at 6 in the morning as you were headed out to be on Good Morning America?
Phenomenal. Thanks to Versalles. Woo. I went over there and got myself a couple cortaditos. That caffeine's kicking in big time.
Joe Panik, an infield hit.
I did not panic at 6 a.m. either.
Done over to first. You still have to give me the translation because it was lost in pronunciation.
Of what?
The mascot for Santurce.
Santurce. Cangrejeros. Los Cangrejeros de Santurce, which are the Santurce Crabbers.
Right. Okay, because I always knew them as the Crabbers.
Right.
I did not know the Spanish.
Right. And that's why I actually said it as I said the Santurce Crabbers, but they are Los Cangrejeros de Santurce. That's the team where I grew up cheering for. It's a team my father played on many years in Puerto Rico. It's the team I played for in Puerto Rico. Won a championship in the year 2000. And went to the Caribbean Series in the Dominican Republic and won the Caribbean Series that year. And I had the honor of managing that team a couple years ago and ended up winning the championship also there. So very fond and dear to our heart are Los Cangrejeros de Santurce. Played at Irán Bithorn Stadium, which you have worked games there
Yes.
in the past.
Yes, I have. Marlins played there against the Mets. They were supposed to play against the Pirates there this year. Those games were canceled, sadly. Crawford, infield hit. He's at first. 1-2 from Dunn to Panic. Still 1-2. Giants and Dodgers now tied atop the West. Still 1-2.
It's a great catch by the fan, by the way. One-hander, nonchalant. Fist pumps all over the place. Talk about going in, you know. There it is. Backhand. Nicely done.
Two and two. Echeverria. First out of the inning. Again, Eduardo, tonight I'm headed to Fish and Chips. Marlins Park is the site. That's tonight, 5:30. Come on down. It's a great cause, RBI. Casino games, cocktails, silent auction. We'll be auctioning off Eduardo Perez iWatch. One that,
mine?
I thought you had.
No.
Come on, it's all for the kids.
Oh, I'm about a lot of things and not my iWatch.
It's all for the kids.
Get another one and do it. I'm all in.
100 pence. Who was struck out twice. High towards the line. Ichiro makes the catch. And Mike Dunn has 2 outs here in the 6th. He's got Gregor Blanco coming up. Oh, and 1. Now there are some arms that are probably off limits for the Marlins today. Nick Whitgren in the bullpen. Fernando Rodney's a question mark. I think he's worked in 4 of 5. Dustin McGowan.
Oh, wake up, sir. Sorry. Never saw that one coming. Line drive right at the fan. That gentleman on the right of your screen with his hands up, the UM hat, had no idea that ball was coming. My goodness.
Yeah. 0-2. I think he was lulled to sleep by the Joe Panic at bat.
The air conditioning the system.
Blancos 0 for 2. Giants offense is Brandon Crawford home run. He also has an infield hit. Crawford runs, Blanco hits, and Yelich catches. And that's how the 6th inning, top of, ends. 1-0 Giants. On top, bottom 6 in Miami. Cute kids.
Yeah, those are the Pineros and Infante right there. Seeing themselves on TV. Finally, they realized it.
Always a thrill. South Florida Honda dealers, get you ready on a Friday night. Craig Minervini, Jeff Conine. It's White Sox and Marlins, and it's the top of the order against Jeff Samardzija. 3rd time around for the Fish. Samardzija misses out, and the Marlins have been unable to dent this right-hander. They've had opportunities. Runner at 3rd and 1 out in the 2nd, couldn't get him home. 1st and 2nd, 1 out in the 5th. Couldn't move either runner. And Samardzija has mixed in that spiked curveball to his repertoire, and it's been effective. Miami would love to get Gordon on base to get this inning going. Three and 0.
How nice would it be to get D on base, no outs, create a little havoc on the bases?
Yeah. There's a strike. And it's 3-1. And Gordon walks. So the leadoff man is aboard. Now Gordon, a couple of times in crucial spots this past week, has been picked off first base. And you wonder if that's just still some rust that sitting out 80 games has brought about.
Well, within the lines, the game is a lot faster. It takes a little time. You have a really good bat in your hands right now with Martin Prado. Good time maybe right here, maybe a hit and run. You have a neutralizer in Buster Posey, throwing out base runners.
Coors Cold Hard Fact. Day games. Giants not so much. Marlins 287, but that's I mean, for the Marlins, that is kind of their average and their spot on an everyday basis. Strike. Prado didn't like it. That's 0-2. Marlins have the best batting average in the National League at 272. Giants at 259 are actually fourth. The average National League team hits 252. Gordon still at first, not running. Prado gets a piece. Yelich and Ozuna hoping for at bats here with a runner on in the bottom of the 6th.
So far, those 3 pitches Jeff Samardzija has thrown, doing a nice job changing his times to the plate. Different looks to D. Gordon, just in case D does go. It's tough to get a good jump.
Seven for 10 are base stealers against Samardzija. But of course, you've got Posey, who's throwing at over 40% and catching base stealers this year. That's the best percentage in Posey's career. 40.5%.
Getting better and better every year.
Gordon does not have a big lead. 1-2. Pitchers duel in this one. One pitcher gone. Both from Notre Dame. David Phelps 5 innings. Brandon Crawford home run, the only run of this game. Jeff Samardzija working here, bottom 6. D. Gordon at first. And a 2-2 count on Martin Prado. Prado right now just fighting off pitch after pitch. Eduardo, from what you've seen with Samardzija in this start, what does that new pitch, that spiked curve, do for him?
It's his off speed. It's that changeup he uses now. Throws it around 77, 78 miles per hour. You throw it early in the count. Then after that, it neutralizes the hitter from just thinking hard stuff all the time. Usually goes fastball, slider, split. Different type of pitcher, getting ahead of the hitters. That's why his pitch count is so low right now. 71 pitches.
Prado steps out. Gordon on the year does have 11 stolen bases. 2-2. In the air to left, it's Pagan, and he makes the catch. Whether it's being picked off a couple times, whether it's Posey behind the plate, for whatever reason, Gordon has been anchored at first through that long at bat.
Give a lot of credit to the way Jeff Samardzija and the San Francisco Giants have been able to keep D. Gordon at bay at first. Martin Prado wanting that pitch back, made a big mistake hanging it. Martin knows he just left him off the hook.
Now Yelich, an 8-game hit streak, but 0 for 2. Line to left his last time up. and hit Samardzija well in their brief encounters. Yelich, an occupant of the top 10 in hitting and on base virtually the entire year. And now tied atop the, or he was tied atop the doubles list. Anthony Rizzo now at 34. Yelich has got 32.
Threw a 1-0 curveball that Christian Yelich swung through. You see the effect that that curveball has on the next pitch. Fastball right down the middle. He's late on. It's the equalizer now that has made Jeff a more complete pitcher.
And Yelich couldn't check. And there's a great example of it.
And goes to that slider. Hitters geared up for hard stuff all the time, makes it easier on the timing. This time you get a really good hitter in Christian Yelich to commit to that slider early, but not hold his swing.
And so Ozuna now with 2 outs. Gordon hasn't even shown any inclination to run. He's had a moderate lead. Maybe with 2 outs that changes. Samardzija hasn't picked anybody off this year. Want to know, Ozuna snapped an 0 for 18 with a base hit in the second. Especially with Stanton not in the lineup tonight, Ozuna in that cleanup spot in a key role. That slider a called strike.
Talk about catchers behind the plate being able to control the running game. The first person you think of is Yadier Molina. Now you have to think about this man right now. The way he has done and evolved behind the plate. Accurate throws, and we saw it in that 14-inning game. Just acrobatic, accurate.
Does that make him the best player in the game? The fact that now he has reached that height as far as a defensive catcher?
Yes, and what he does behind the plate, controlling the game, having a lot of fun, but most importantly, cleanup hitter, knows how to drive in runs, the leader of the team in every pitch. He is, to me, the Tom Brady of football. Wins championships of baseball. I'm sorry, I said, well, he is the Tom Brady of baseball. Wins championships, he's come in, impact player from the beginning. 7 pitches to Prado, 4 to Yelich, 3 to Ozuna, 14 pitches total. Yeah, but fantastic base runner at first base has not gone yet. That's because of him.
Gordon bluffs, and it's 2-2. Ozuna and Posey have had a nice conversation during this at bat. Gordon runs, didn't get a great jump. Posey's throw, and he's safe.
I think it's because Panic dropped the ball.
Yeah, the ball ended up right behind the bag, looked like. That's his 200th career stolen base.
Would have been out right there. He's out. And that's what he does, controlling the game. Ball falls, could not hold on to it. Buster Posey threw that ball from a 3/4 angle. You usually see catchers throwing right over the top.
So Gordon gets the bag. The count 3-2 to Ozuna. And the pitch is in. And so Ozuna works a walk. Dietrich is the hitter. Giants bullpen is ready.
Here he comes. Bruce Bochy.
Bruce Bochy. With Dietrich waiting at the plate. Will Smith is the Giant lefty, and it looks like the Giants are going to do a double switch to get Smith into the ball game. So bottom of the 6th, that's it for Samardzija. It's a little bit of an early hook. It's 82 pitches worth.
But you look at the dynamic of the lineup of the Marlins. Bruce Bochy understands that you have 2 lefties coming up. You've already used a pinch hitter if you're the Marlins. He's gambling on Don Mattingly making a move and bringing in Chris Johnson and depleting his bench, and that's exactly what's going to happen.
West Kendall Toyota called to the bullpen. The Giants do bring in the lefty. Samardzija, not that high a pitch count. He's been tough today. Ehire Adrianza in for the Giants. And it is Will Smith. Now the Marlins are going to counter with Chris Johnson. But remember, it's a short bench to begin with, just 4. And the Marlins have already used Stanton as a pinch hitter. So Don Mattingly's down to 2 reserves on his bench, and it's only the 6th inning. And a strike from the lefty Will Smith. Corey Blazer. And Don Mattingly.
It kissed the top part of the zone.
You got speed out there with Gordon at second. Ozuna's at first.
Well-located pitch by Will Smith.
Now you've got the Giants bench chirping.
Yep. But that was, you know what, Corey Blaser has been phenomenal today. Has been great. Credit where credit is due.
Johnson behind the count now, 1-2. Final game, 3-game set. Giants in extra innings. Got game 1. Marlins a shutout last night. And that breaking ball. Johnson stays alive. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Everywhere but right in the middle.
No 3-second violation there, right?
You are a basketball player at heart, aren't you?
Oh, my knees say no. Mine
1,
says yes.
2. Check swing, didn't go. Pitches out. It's 2-2. Smith, of course, was a Milwaukee Brewer most of the year. Giants picked him up to give some help to Javier Lopez, the other lefty. 2-2 coming. Oh, strike 3 called. Johnson can't believe it. He and Blaser.
I spoke too soon, I think.
In conversation at the plate. And for the Marlins, that's a bitter finish to the 6th inning. Oh, man, look at how bad that is. That is pitch number 6.
Oh, boy.
Yikes. Word is filtered into the dugout exactly where that pitch was. You know, in modern day baseball, from the video rooms, they have Fox tracks as well. Word gets to the dugout usually about 45 seconds after a pitch. Look at this pitch. It's out. And look at it on Fox tracks, way out. That's strike 3 called.
Well, the problem I have is he already called this pitch a ball twice. So all of a sudden now with 2 strikes, you call this one a strike. Corey, you've had a great game until that call right there. And you're going to make a mistake. You make it on the first strike or on the second one. But the last one, the strike 3, there's no coming back from it.
And the result was Barry Bonds was ejected. Bonds, along with a lot of Marlins from the dugout, were on Corey Blaser.
Corey's upset. Barry's upset. And Barry's upset. He said he did not say one thing to him. That's really what gets coaches irked up, especially as a hitting coach. You're there pitch by pitch with your hitter. You get no love.
Rianza to right. Ichiro is there. And he makes the catch. All right, some changes here in the double switch. All right, in the in the pinch hitting appearance. Chris Johnson's at first base. And you saw Nick Wickren on the mound. And the Marlins are down to just 2 players on their bench as well. And it's only the 7th. And Don Mattingly's not in a real pleasant mood right now. Watching him between innings. Top of the order, Eduardo Nunez with Angel Pagan against Wickren. That one fouled back. 1-0 ball game. That means hits have been tough to come by for both teams. The Giants have 5. The Marlins have just 3. David Phelps, 5 innings, solo homer to Brandon Crawford, and that's it. Mike Dunn worked a scoreless 6th, and it's Wickren in the 7th. Oh, 2. Wickren, along with everybody else, worked on Monday night, and it didn't go well for him. Rookie got knocked around. Gordon on to first. And he's got 2 outs, but the Marlins pen that night just for whatever reason couldn't get it done. Cervenka gave up 3, Wickren gave up 2, Bearclaw gave up 1. Marlins bullpen lost 2 leads in that game. It was the 8-7 Giants win in 14 innings. And a strike to Pagan. It's 1-1. And of course, the Marlins had Giancarlo Stanton getting a day off. He did pinch hit and flied out back in the 5th. Yelich. And Pagan is out, and Nick Wickren goes 1-2-3 through the Giants in the 7th. 2, 7th inning stretch. Toyota and the all-new RAV4 brings you an inside look. Best record against the National League West. The Marlins at 17-8. Remember, they had that 4-game sweep in Los Angeles. Well, that's one of the reasons Miami's on top now. The Dodgers still have to come here to Marlins Park. And the Padres still have to come here for a weekend series. Here's Ichiro against the lefty Will Smith. JT Realmuto and Adeiny Hechavarria also scheduled to appear. Bottom 7. Smith with a breaking ball gets a strike. Ichiro singled his last time up. Liner to left. He's 1 for 2. And he swings wildly at a breaking ball, and Smith strikes out Ichiro. So 2 strikeouts for Smith, the 2 he's faced. Fox Sports Florida and Southwest Airlines giving you a chance to win all-inclusive stay in Nassau on Labor Day weekend. Just tweet hashtag Southwest Summer Days Sweeps. Can you remember that? I can't.
Doing it right now.
I'm struggling with that. Just
say it again.
Southwest Summer Days Sweeps. I'm ineligible, actually, so it doesn't matter. Hashtag sponsored as well. And then send it toward @FoxSportsFL. Better off to just back up the DVR and go from there. West Kendall Toyota call to the bullpen. Pen. JT Realmuto's 0 for 1. He struck out and walked. Adeiny Hechavarria is on deck. Brandon Crawford's solo homer against David Phelps back in the 4th is it for offense. Marlins have had opportunities. That 2nd inning situation at second with Derek Dietrich looks larger and larger as this game goes on. 0-2. Dietrich with a runner at first. Line went down the left field line. Decided to try for 2, and Angel Pagan threw him out pretty easily. Instead of 1st and 3rd and nobody out, Jeff Samardzija was faced with a runner at 3rd and 1 out, and Ichiro up with the infield in, and Ichiro bounced to 2nd. Samardzija got out of the inning. Real Muto cranks one to center, and that's Blanco lining it up, and he makes the catch. Here comes Echeverria. A Marlins offense that in Colorado and in Chicago started to get some extra base hits has all of a sudden slowed down. Marlins have 8 hits over the last 21 innings. Miami a 2-0 win last night. Strickland with a good arm. You get a sense that if the Giants can just get back home, get back into AT&T Park, that things will be all right for Bruce Bochy's ball club. Been a long stretch of road games for the Giants. (17 out of 23 on the road, and it ends today. We got a long homestand in August, the rest of August. Echeverria into center. That's a hit. And so now the Marlins have to use a pinch hitter here, the pitcher spot, and Don Mattingly is down to 1 bench player in the 7th inning.
Nice piece of hitting by Adeiny, and this is a situation now because you're using that pinch hitter. Adeiny will stay at first, allow Miguel Rojas to get his swings in, and you have to be able to get a nice secondary and try to score on any extra base hit. Miggy always aggressive on the first pitch. 1 pinch hitting.
It's a bit of an oddity, and you've managed, but if Echeverria got picked off, he essentially would have to come out of the game.
Then you end up with maybe a shortstop. That's the plus of it. Either which way, you said it, 7th inning, you only have 1 guy left on the bench, and that's your backup catcher, Jeff Mathis.
Posey took the brunt of that foul tip.
Oh, both of them. Look at the facial expressions on both of them. Ouch and ouch.
Posey's interesting. A lot of catchers look at the hitter's feet, and he does that. He also looks at the runner at first to see if that runner is peeking when he's giving signs.
A lot of people don't know this, but Mike Martin Jr., third base coach for the Florida State Seminoles, it was his idea to move Buster Posey from the shortstop position and teach him how to play the catching position.
See that quick glance down to first?
Yeah.
And then to see what the hitter's doing.
You're in the game totally.
Pitch is in. Catchers will look down there for a couple things. Number 1, see if the runner's peeking. Number 2, to see if that first base coach is on the line and might be peeking in too.
And even the hitters sometimes, hitters don't look back, especially in day games, outdoor games when the sunglasses are being worn. Or you have those Oakley glasses on, take a little peek back, see where catcher's getting in position.
2-1 to Rojas. And he bounces it out to second. Arianze on to first in time, still 1-0. San Francisco. La Lechonera. Notre Dame against Notre Dame. David Phelps, Jeff Samardzija, and both were really good. Phelps, just his second start since being stretched out of the bullpen, went 5. Samardzija would go 6. And this, the only run of the game. Brandon Crawford belting one to right. And that's it. Brian Ellington out of the bullpen. Now, a couple of things to summarize as this game moves forward here. And that is, the Marlins have one bench player left, Jeff Mathis. Barry Bonds has been ejected, Marlins hitting coach. Brian Ellington is in the ballgame. So far, the bullpen in support of Phelps's 5 innings. Mike Dunn and Nick Whitgren have both pitched scoreless innings in the 6th and the 7th. Brandon Belt, Buster Posey, Brandon Crawford for the Giants.
Ellington's job here to hold down the fort. Keep it at bay, give his offense an opportunity to at least score 1.
With the injury to A.J. Ramos, the promotion of David Phelps to the rotation, the back end of the Marlins pen all of a sudden isn't as deep as it was. That is, unless guys like Brian Ellington, Nick Whitgren take the opportunity, Mike Dunn, and start getting on a nice run, then it's back to where it was. Fernando Rodney is in the closer spot. Whether he can close today, I don't know. It's pitched in 4 or 5.
You know what I do love about the bullpen? Even though with the inexperience, we're talking about guys that can really show some velocity. A lot of gutsy pitchers out there. Look at Cal Barraclough, Whitgren, Ellington. Dustin McGowan did the other day was very impressive, giving his team an opportunity. Unfortunately, came out with a loss. Gave valuable innings.
Belts walked twice. Giants haven't been hitting the cover off the ball. Of course, the Marlins haven't either. Full count, 3-2. Stays at 3-2. Full calendar in the baseball schedule, but this the only game going right now. Next one out of the chute, the Phillies and the Dodgers. Towards the corner, Yelich chasing, got it. Christian Yelich has terrific range in left.
Going to his right, knowing this ballpark well, and then bracing himself for impact. Making a nice play. It all starts with the jump. About the reaction right there, getting the first out of the inning. Very important for Brian Ellington.
Not sure if this speaks to the offenses or to the pitching. Defense has been outstanding, but both the Giants and the Marlins have had trouble scoring runs over the last 2.5 games. 2 runs in 22 innings for the Giants, 2 runs in the last 23 innings for Miami. Posey now, who was 0 for 3. And Ellington misses outside with a breaking ball.
That's the pitch. That's his equalizer. If he can start controlling that slider, you could give it a little bit of consistency. It would be the difference maker for Brian.
Posey smacks one into center field. That's a hit. Ozuna picks it up. And a 1-out single brings Brandon Crawford to the plate.
Fastball again up in the zone. Buster looking, fastball. First pitch was at 99. That one, same thing. Getting that base hit.
Crawford 2 for 3. Heard your discussion on Marlins Live pregame. Comparison Brandon Crawford and Adeiny Hechavarria. Both are supreme defensive shortstops. Crawford a Gold Glover this past year. I think right now offensively, Crawford clearly a better offensive player. See where that pitch was. It was called the ball. 11 homers, 71 driven in. And a guy that Bruce Bochy puts in a variety of spots in the lineup. He hit 4th yesterday. He's 5th in this ball game.
He's grown into this position. When he came up to the big leagues, he was the 8-hole hitter. And he's just gotten better and better with more confidence.
Pulls that one to first. Johnson. Hechavarria, difficult turn, and he made it. Well, there's the defense we talked about. Hechavarria was off balance in a vulnerable and awkward spot. No problem. Starts on Friday nights. Carlos Rodon, Andrew Kashner. And that's your matchup. Fireworks on Friday. White Sox, Marlins. Important weekend series as the Fish try to keep this push towards October going. Kashner makes start number 3 as a Marlin. D. Gordon in the box. For the Marlins now, they are facing Derek Law. Third out of the pen for the Giants. Will Smith, Hunter Strickland, and now Law in support of Jeff Samardzija. Gordon fouls it back. Gordon has bounced out twice, walked. In a game where there's one run on the board, any little thing obviously can change the game. One little thing in that 6th inning after the leadoff walk, whether it was Samardzija quick to the plate, Posey's presence behind the plate, or for whatever reason, D. Gordon did not run until the very end of the inning, and then even then Marcell Ozuna would walk. Marlins unable to move guys from first and second. Bill Bouncer. And Law flips on over to first. The play at second. Back in the 2nd inning. And I know those are very little things, but right now it's a razor-thin 1-0 ball game.
Well, it took him 16 pitches to be able to at least attempt to steal, and it was the inability itself of Joe Panik to hold on to that baseball. If not, he would have been caught stealing. The Giants doing a nice job changing times, giving Buster Posey an opportunity as we see Kyle Barraclough in the bullpen.
Javier Lopez, lefty specialist. You would think he's getting ready for Christian Yelich. Prado, oof. Now he's got a badly bruised toe on that left foot.
I saw it last night after the game, and I was like, wow, I'm impressed that he can even be out there. Hits it again right in the same spot. That bad boy right now is as swollen as can be. Doing all the treatment possible. This guy is a gamer. He knows the importance of these games down the stretch, especially against teams that are in contention.
Oh, 2. Prado, a flare into right center, and a catch on the run by Blanco. Let's see if Bruce Bochy goes to Lopez now, or since there's nobody on base, sticks with Law against Yelich.
He's going to stick with Law right here. If Prado would have been on base, it would have been a different story. You have Lopez there. Now he sits down because the move was made to hit for Dietrich. He can afford to keep the game going with Law.
Yelich's splits better against lefties this year. But you see the dozen homers against righties.
Posey and Law just staying away with Yelich when it comes to the fastball. Both pitches kissing the outer part of the plate. He goes in soft, down and in. Instead, stay hard away.
One and two. Well, you saw where the first pitch was actually out. The second one was on the edge. And if he goes out there again, Yelich is going to have no choice but to try to chase those pitches down. Posey's in. Breaking ball's down. It's the second time the Marlins faced Samardzija. Both times he was really good. Law with a long wait. Yelich asked for time.
This is the most that Buster Posey has been trying to get the sign to be in connection with Law.
Yelich rolls it out to second. Arianze on to first, and the Giants bullpen. It's a 1-0 lead. That's where Eduardo Perez will be in about an hour.
Then I'll come right back for the fish and chips.
Atta baby.
With sand in my shoes.
Bring some of that sunshine and sand with you. Kyle Barraclough for the Fish. So Don Mattingly had a few hurdles to start this game. Number one, Giancarlo Stanton, an off day and a little bit of a balky hip from that diving catch the other night. Number two, he had some bullpen arms that he had to stay away from, and one of those is probably Fernando Rodney. Dustin McGowan, another one. He has stayed away from those arms. There's Rodney. And the Marlins bullpen has been very good. Mike Dunn, Nick Wittgren, Brian Ellington have combined to throw 3 scoreless innings, giving up just 2 hits. That's in support of David Phelps. Denard Span is going to hit for the pitcher, right in the middle of the Giants order. Span, who's been in the leadoff spot for the first 2 games, takes ball 1. There's the Giants closer, Santiago Casilla. Marlins have Ozuna, Johnson, and Ichiro. And a swing by Span. And if anybody reaches, Real Muto, Echeverria. Span right now was unaware that it was called on the swing. One and two. Good sharp slider from Bear Claw. Bear Claw got to the big leagues last year, but he really has come into his own this season. And that slider catches the corner, although Span is not a happy guy.
Kyle comes in throwing that breaking pitch for strikes. Saw it a couple times again.
That is plenty of plate, boy.
Yeah.
Hunter Pence. Giants are hoping that getting back home will do something for Hunter Pence. He's 0 for 3 here. 1 for 14 with 8 strikeouts in the series. Two and 0. Both teams with an eye on the standings. Dodgers have caught the Giants for the top spot in the West. Marlins have that #2 wild card spot, but the Cardinals just a game behind them. And the Mets 2.5 games back. Those teams are playing tonight. That's a foul ball. National League West. Marlins went in and beat the Rockies in that weekend series. There's your wild card.
It's impressive the way the Dodgers have also played without Clayton Kershaw. They've been able to give quality innings, and their offense has been able to score a lot of runs.
Full count, 3-2. And Pence waving at a slider. That's 3 strikeouts in this game, 9 in the 3-game series.
And all on bad pitches out of the zone, just being too antsy. Another guy that did not have a lot of at-bats in his rehab assignment, coming back from getting hurt. You're seeing it right now, just not himself, and going right back to the dugout.
Gregor Blanco.
Back to those standings. 9 games left between San Francisco and the Dodgers. Marlins have to continue to play steady baseball. Dodgers still have to face the Marlins, what, 3 more times? So that right there, it's Marlins just have to play steady, consistent baseball, and then allow San Francisco and the Dodgers to battle it out. And offset each other. Basically, what you want is one team to clobber each other, right?
Well, one team to dominate the other.
Yeah, one team to dominate.
So whoever drops out of it drops farther than if it's a close split. Blanco walks. Adrianza comes up. Bearclaw trying to get it to the bottom of the ninth and keep it 1-0. Ozuna, Johnson, Ichiro due up in the ninth. Adrianza. One and 0 to the utility infielder.
That was a set play by Bearclaw, holding on to the baseball. Good running situation for the Giants here.
Bearclaw right now having trouble finding the plate. He struck out the first two he faced. And now Real Muto out to talk to him. Nobody throwing right now in Miami's pen. There's a look at Austin Brice.
Well, in this 3-game series, the Marlins have given up 20 base-on balls to the San Francisco Giants. 2 of them by the intentional kind. Either which way, just 18 too many. Like that. 19 too many.
2 strikeouts, 2 walks for Bearclaw. Casillas been ready for a while. Mark Gardner, the bullpen coach down there, wants to keep him from overextending himself. Eduardo Nunez is the hitter. Juan Nieves is on the mound. And Bearclaw needs to straighten it out, and it looks like throwing has commenced in Miami's pen.
Well, he's had more control throwing the slider out over the plate than he has the fastball. So don't be surprised if he goes slider first pitch to try to get ahead against Eduardo Nunez.
And so Austin Brice is throwing now. There you go. There's your slider for a strike. There is Brice, 24-year-olds out of Northwood, North Carolina. And 2. Got him outside corner.
Oh, wow.
And Nunez with his hands up, pointing to the edge of the plate. Look at that.
Oh, wow. He just threw his helmet and bat right then and there. Ouch.
1-0 Giants. Bottom 9 coming up. Baseball, Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By the all-new 2017 Chrysler Pacifica. And by your South Florida Honda dealers. In Miami, a run on 6 hits for the Giants, no runs, 4 hits for the Marlins. And the bottom of the 9th arrives, and so does the Giants closer. Santiago Casilla. He's blown 5 saves. His ERA just under 3. He worked 2 scoreless innings on Monday night. Was not needed last night. The Marlins won last night 2-0. So, Marcell Ozuna, Chris Johnson, Ichiro for Miami. Nunez, and there's the first out. The Giants bullpen, very, very good today. Will Smith, Hunter Strickland, Derek Law. Now you've got Casilla. Marlins pen of Dunn, Wickren, Ellington, Barraclough with 4 scoreless innings. Casilla gets a fastball for a strike. Oh, 1 is out. Out, though, has been a negotiable spot for both sides in the last couple of innings. Johnson chases, and it's 1-2. Strike 3 call. Johnson knew it. Casilla started the slider on his left shoulder, and it ended up right on the plate.
Talk about getting different looks this time. hung that slider, but just froze CJ, looking more out over the plate. Missing location was Casilla. Supposed to be more away. Playing with fire, hanging a pitch like that.
Miami's last chance rests on the shoulders of Ichiro. Ichiro to center, well hit. Blanco going back, and he can't get it. And it bounces up over the wall. It's a double. And the Marlins have life. Ichiro's 10th double of the season. His second hit, 3002 now. Boy, did he blister that one.
Aggressive, going after that first pitch, barreling it. And Blanco playing a shallow center field. Love the swing of Ichiro right there. Right past the outstretched arm of Blanco. Now you have a runner in scoring position. Got the right guy at the plate with JT Realmuto trying to extend the hitting streak to 12.
0 for 2 with a walk is Realmuto. 11 straight. Ichiro, excellent speed at second. Outfield. Bit towards right center. And a breaking ball for a strike. Oh, 1. Boy, 2 sliders and 2 strikes. Echeverria on deck. And an 0-2. Swing and a miss. Realmuto strikes out. Ichiro left at second, and the Giants take the series. And they do it with a 1-0 combined shutout. Jeff Samardzija and 4 relievers, closed by Santiago Casilla. Marlins Live is coming up. Checkers presents it. Jeff Conine, Craig Minervini will recap the game and the series. Get you ready for the Chicago White Sox, who are here on Friday. Tight one here. Giants, with that swing, get a 1-0 win. Brandon Crawford's homer, the only run of the ball game.